weird stuff. And this particular company, even just saying the company's name, people just are not fans of them, and I can't blame them. But this is a so just a preface here. This website here, Metro, they had this article which I found was pretty interesting. It says here in quote, Tencent uses facial recognition tool to stop kids playing video games at night. Continues on to say here in quote, we've all played video games at night under the covers, and we weren't supposed to. Getting in a couple of hours with your Game Boy didn't run the risk of someone on the other side of the screen spying on you. But that dystopian fear is now reality. So according to a report by the Sixth Tone, Chinese publishing giant Tencent has this week launched a facial recognition system specifically designed to monitor who is playing what video game and when. The idea is that the Midnight Control software is linked to the country's central public security system, which allows it to detect any children playing games between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. and boot them offline. Tencent software is being used to enforce measures first introduced in 2019, which require players to use their real name and limits both to how much children can play and how much they can spend on microtransactions. The latter, at least, has certainly been a concern in the West, although most governments have dragged their feet in doing anything about it in terms of legislation. The Midnight Patrol system currently works over 60 games that are popular in China, including Honor of Kings, Game for Peace, with more due added over time. Concern over the childhood addition to video games has been growing in China over the last decade, and difficulty of tracking how much kids spend on mobile games was meant the new system actually being welcomed by many. End quote. So there's a lot of weird stuff in this article, man. I think a lot of this. So I remember when we had the conversation of when it comes to Tencent. When it comes to it wasn't Tencent. It was to do a PlayStation. There was some type of law you were showing me, and then when we found out what the law was, it was connected to specifically the Republic of China. So we're like, oh, okay.
So if you're a PlayStation owner in China, you can't talk shit about China.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So connected to additional crazy rules, right? Mm-hmm. Them being able to monitor specifically kids. Like, it's one thing if it's like people playing games, right?
Yeah.
They're specifically targeting kids playing at night and how like they're trying to not prolong them and then cut their game off or whatnot. Really creepy stuff, man.
Yeah, you've heard me mention this company name multiple fucking times. Tencent, fuck them.
Yeah.
Like beyond fuck them. They do again. This is not surprising me at all. So Tencent is a Chinese publisher. So in China, remember in China, any company is still technically, if not owned, at least under the supervision of the government. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so just openly, we facial recognize kids and we shut their shit off. Yeah. Sounds about right. So that's what they're doing in China. That's the newest update what they're doing in China. Yeah. And so remember on the West here like quote unquote in the Western market, whenever you hear me mention Tencent, it usually involves like censorship or catering specifically to that market. Like again, Tencent only owns 5% of Blizzard, but yet it's known they make up a huge portion of their decisions, like the reason why Diablo 2 is being censored, the reason why the Blizzard had such a hard ban hammer, people just mentioning Hong Kong. It's like, we mentioned that famous Hearthstone player that got banned. Anything Tencent does, we need to pay very close attention to. There was a rumor months back, like even during 2020, we talked about how there was a rumor that Tencent was looking to buy up some major fucking publisher, like Take-Two. Oh wow. EA. It was like Take-Two, EA, or like Gearbox. Like it was a rumor they were going to buy up. So anytime there's Tencent on news, anytime there's news about Tencent, people need to pay close attention to, because it's a big thing. Yeah. Because whatever Tencent gets their hands on, censorship, mobile gaming, microtransactions, crazy shit that fucks the industry. Yeah, again, even beyond gaming industry, it's like, oh, they're facial scans to shut off your game. What else can I do with that? Facial scans, facial scans to have a picture of my face somewhere. So
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me. And again, people need to pay close attention to this to confirm that this is only happening in China. Because even like removing the shut off the game thing, to tell parents in the U.S., oh, that the Chinese company that made that game is spying on your kid and their camera's on even if they don't know it. That's a huge fucking thing.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, you kind of lean into an additional point I was going to make as well, Arthur, as far as like how do we know that this is just Tencent or just in China? You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously the shutdown thing is specifically a China thing, but as far as the monitoring of mobile games, just in particular, right?
Yeah.
How do we not know that this is in other companies, across the world, especially with the US, and then it also kind of is strange when it comes to the, how big mobile games have gotten. And specifically with, you have your Call of Duty mobiles, the Battlefield mobile, which they haven't talked about yet. And they will talk about, how that'll be played into the picture. It's just a lot of really weird stuff. I mean, we already know, like, when it comes to like phones and devices, like they are recording and watching things, and and even your phone creates additional marketing things on your phone if you talk about them or whatever, and just an ad randomly. How convenient.
I think as a society we're all collectively beyond the point of tinfoil hat that we all can fucking agree that if you talk about something, you'll see an ad on your phone,
right?
Via your social media. Like to this day, there was, you, me, and mutual friend were talking about a festival I've never heard of in my entire fucking life. We were talking about it for like 15, 20 minutes, and then on the ride home, I look at my phone. Oh, look at that. That's sponsored ad. To buy tickets for the festival you've never fucking heard of your entire life. And now all of a sudden there's ads for it. Dude, like, what the fuck?
Insane.
But again, it's concerning. So here's the thing: when we talk about mobile and Tencent, now on a global scale, China is a major contributor in the mobile gaming market. Like it's huge. It's like the top, like whatever, the second, third, or fourth place combined.
Yeah.
Because in China, again, these consoles via currency exchange are really expensive, but everyone has a phone, a Huawei, because that's like their centralized government. If you're in China, you have a Huawei phone.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why mobile gaming is such a huge thing, and again that's why it's also profitable, because I've mentioned it is a societal. I don't want to say cultural, because I can't speak too much into it, but monetarily flexing is a thing.
Yeah,
it is a thing, like in modern, or at least the big cities in China. Like it is a thing that's even in gaming to be like, oh, look what I got because I can afford this, I can afford that.
Yeah.
So that's why, one, mobile gaming, and two, microtransactions in mobile gaming in China is such a huge thing.
Yeah.
Compared to other countries like the US, or again other quote unquote Western countries like Australia, like England, stuff like that. But yeah, man, and I said anytime Tencent shows up in the news, you got to pay attention to it.
Yeah,
because there's always something behind, like what's behind the curtain, what's behind the veil of what the fuck they're doing. Because again, it's Blizzard does all this shit, and it's because of this company that owns supposedly quote unquote only 5% of their company. Yet they're willing to censor an entire library of games just for them.
Yeah, exactly.